My brothers and sisters, listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is something every heart in this room has felt, but very few have ever admitted. There comes a moment in your life where, despite having everything people told you to chase, wealth, status, attention, people's praise, you suddenly feel empty. You lie down at night, scrolling endlessly, laughing at things that don't matter, pretending everything is fine, but your heart is whispering, "This isn't peace." You wake up tired, not because your body is weak, but because your soul is exhausted. You're trying to hold on to a world that keeps slipping from your fingers. You're trying to impress people who don't even remember your name. You're chasing a life that was never meant to stay with you. And somewhere deep inside you know it. You know that Dunya is loud, but your heart is quieter. You know Dunya is temporary, but your soul is eternal. You know Dunya promises everything, but delivers almost nothing. Have you ever noticed how the moment you get what you thought you wanted, the happiness fades? You wanted the car, you got it. You wanted the job, you got it. You wanted the likes, the attention, the lifestyle, you got it. And then what? A few days later, a new desire begins chasing you. A new emptiness begins haunting you. A new void begins pulling you in. That's Dunya. It gives you a taste, then takes everything away. It gives you excitement, then leaves you restless. It gives you noise, but never peace. But Allah, when Allah gives, He gives in a way that fills the heart. When Allah grants peace, it settles deep inside you, so deeply that no loss, no comment, no hardship, no stress can shake it. When you let go of Dunya, Allah replaces it with something priceless, tranquility. Today, I want to take you on a journey that begins with letting go and ends with finally feeling alive again. Letting go of Dunya does not mean walking away from your responsibilities, abandoning your career, or living a life without ambition. It means freeing your heart from the chains that keep you restless, anxious, and constantly comparing yourself to others. It means detaching the soul from the illusion that this world can give you lasting happiness. Because the moment you believe Dunya can satisfy you, you will keep chasing it endlessly, becoming a slave to its expectations. But when you understand that Dunya was never designed to fill your heart, something inside you finally relaxes. You begin to breathe again. Think about it. How many times have you pushed yourself to the limit, believing that if you just worked a little harder, earned a little more, or achieved a little higher status, you would finally feel fulfilled? Yet every time you reach a milestone, the feeling fades. You get that new phone, and 2 weeks later it feels old. You buy a car, and soon you start eyeing another model. You receive praise from people, and then spend the next day worrying about losing their approval. Dunya gives you a moment's taste, but it never gives you peace. Detachment means recognizing that your worth doesn't come from what you own or what people think of you. Your worth comes from the one who created you. When your heart is attached to Allah, you can walk through the storms of life with a calmness that shocks people. They ask you, "How are you so at peace?" And the answer is simple. Because your heart is no longer anchored to things that break. Freeing your heart from Dunya doesn't make you lose anything. In fact, it allows you to gain clarity. When you're not obsessed with how people see you, you start seeing yourself more clearly. When you're not fixated on competing with others, you finally hear your own purpose. When your heart isn't drowning in worldly desires, you start focusing on what truly brings fulfillment, your relationship with Allah, your spiritual growth, your character, and your akira. And here's the beautiful secret: when you detach from Dunya for Allah's sake, you don't become weaker, you become stronger. You can still pursue your goals, work hard, build your career, support your family, and enjoy the blessings Allah gives you. But now you do it with balance. You use Dunya without letting it use you. You hold it in your hands, not in your heart. You become someone who can walk through life with dignity, because nothing owns you except your love for Allah. Letting go of Dunya is freedom. It liberates you from jealousy because you no longer measure your life against others. It frees you from fear because you no longer see the world as your provider. It removes stress because you no longer depend on temporary things for permanent happiness. And when that freedom settles in your heart, it becomes the doorway through which Allah sends peace, a peace that stays with you in every season of life. That is the power of detaching your heart from Dunya. That is the beginning of true peace. You cannot hold Dunya and peace at the same time, because both of them demand space in the same heart. The heart is a vessel, finite, limited, delicate. When it becomes crowded with attachment to this world, there is simply no room left for tranquility. Many people don't realize this. They think peace is something they can sprinkle on top of a busy life filled with stress, comparison, and endless desires. But peace is not an accessory. Peace is a state of the heart that requires emptiness, clarity, and surrender. And as long as dunya is sitting heavily inside your chest, peace cannot enter. Look at your own life for a moment. How often have you felt overwhelmed? Not because life is hard, but because your expectations are too high. How often have you been restless? Not because you lack blessings, but because you are constantly looking at what others have. How often has your heart felt heavy? Not because you're going through real hardship, but because you're trying to keep up with a world that keeps shifting the finish line. This is the reality. Dunya keeps your heart busy, while Allah wants to keep it at peace. Dunya pushes you to rush, to worry, to compete, to impress. But Allah invites you to slow down, trust, and breathe. The two worlds cannot coexist in the same space without one overpowering the other. When your heart is full of dunya, everything bothers you. A small comment hurts you. A little failure destroys your confidence. Someone else's success feels threatening. You feel like you're always behind. Peace becomes impossible because your happiness depends on things that change, people who leave, and moments that fade. But the moment you start releasing dunya from your heart, even a little, you begin to feel a shift. Suddenly, you stop caring so deeply about what others think. You stop feeling the need to compare your life to everyone else's. You stop building your happiness on fragile foundations. You start caring more about what Allah wants from you than what people expect from you. And that's when peace quietly walks in. Letting go of dunya doesn't mean abandoning everything. It means removing its poison from your heart. It means saying, my peace is more important than people's approval. My heart is too precious to be controlled by things that fade. My worth is too sacred to be defined by numbers, status, or material possessions. When you reach that point, Allah fills your heart with a calmness you never knew existed. Because peace doesn't come from having everything. Peace comes from not needing everything. It comes from trusting that what is meant for you will always be yours. It comes from knowing that the world is temporary, but the one who controls it is eternal. The heart that is attached to dunya will always be troubled. But the heart that is attached to Allah will always be at peace. And when you finally let go, not from your hands, but from your heart, you'll wonder why you held on so tightly for so long. Many people are afraid of letting go because they think that if they release something, they will lose. They fear losing comfort, status, relationships, or possessions. They think letting go of the dunya means stepping into emptiness, walking into uncertainty, or facing a life of scarcity. But what they don't realize is that what they hold on to so tightly may actually be the very thing preventing them from receiving something far greater. Allah says in His wisdom that when you give up something for His sake, He does not leave you empty-handed. He replaces it with blessings you could never imagine. Blessings far beyond your expectations, far more beautiful than anything the world could offer. Think about the moments in your life when you sacrificed something for the sake of what is right. Perhaps you stopped engaging in something harmful or let go of a toxic relationship. At first, it might have felt like loss, painful, difficult, even scary. But over time, you realize that by letting go, Allah opened doors for better things to enter your life. Clarity replaced confusion, peace replaced chaos, and true connections replaced shallow companionships. Allah is always faithful to those who trust Him, and He has a way of filling the void left by dunya with treasures of the heart. This principle applies to every aspect of life. When you let go of sin, Allah gives you light in your heart, guiding your steps with wisdom and protection. When you let go of greed, Allah gives you contentment, showing you that satisfaction is more valuable than the endless pursuit of wealth. When you let go of people who bring negativity, Allah surrounds you with kindness and support, people who inspire you rather than drain you. And when you let go of dunya itself, its obsessions, attachments, and endless cravings, Allah replaces it with peace, tranquility, and a heart that is no longer restless. The beauty of this is that Allah's replacements are not temporary. Dunya may give you pleasure, but it is fleeting. The peace that Allah grants is lasting. It is not dependent on circumstances, not shaken by the opinions of others, not threatened by loss or failure. It is a calm that remains, a stability that endures, a satisfaction that grows even when the storms of life come. And this is the reward for those who release their grip on what is temporary to hold on to what is eternal. So do not fear letting go. Do not hesitate because of the illusion of loss. Every time you release something for Allah, you are making space in your life for something greater to enter. The universe of the heart expands, the soul grows lighter, and the connection to your Creator strengthens. The fear that once held you back turns into courage. The emptiness you feared turns into fulfillment. And the peace that fills your heart becomes proof that Allah is the ultimate provider, far wiser, far more generous, far more compassionate than anything the dunya can ever offer. Let go, trust, and watch as Allah replaces what you released with something better, something eternal, something that no loss in this world could ever take away. This is the mercy, the promise, and the profound wisdom of Allah. You were never created to chase the dunya endlessly. You were created to rise above it, to live a life that is anchored in purpose, meaning, and connection with your Creator. But the problem is that many of us spend our entire lives running after what is fleeting: status, wealth, praise, comfort, thinking that these things will define us, complete us, or make us whole. And the truth is, no matter how much we achieve or acquire, we still feel empty because our hearts were not designed for temporary pleasures. All souls long for something higher, something eternal, something that can never be taken away. And the moment you let go of dunya, you begin the process of becoming who you were always meant to be. Letting go of dunya allows your soul to breathe again. When your heart is no longer crowded with attachment to fleeting desires, clarity emerges. You start to see life differently. You no longer measure your success by the wrong metrics, and you no longer define your worth by others' opinions. Your focus shifts from accumulating temporary things to nurturing eternal qualities: patience, humility, compassion, and love for Allah. You start realizing that the richness of life is not in possessions, but in character. You begin to understand that the beauty of existence is not in applause, but in submission to your Creator. And suddenly, life feels lighter because you're no longer carrying unnecessary burdens. Freedom comes when you release yourself from the chains of dunya. You stop obsessing over what you don't have and start appreciating what you do. You stop worrying about the fleeting opinions of others and start focusing on what Allah sees. You stop comparing yourself to others and start embracing your own journey. This liberation allows you to dedicate your time, energy, and heart to things that truly matter: prayer, family, kindness, helping others, and preparing for the life to come. Every action you take becomes intentional, every choice becomes purposeful, and every moment becomes an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. Letting go of dunya also strengthens your resilience. When your heart is no longer attached to what is temporary, setbacks and challenges lose their power to break you. Failure no longer feels like the end of the world because your trust is not in worldly outcomes. It is in Allah. Losses become lessons, hardships become reminders, and trials become opportunities for growth. Your heart becomes steady, your mind becomes clear, and your spirit becomes unshakable. You begin to walk through life with dignity, confidence, and an inner calm that others can feel but cannot replicate. Ultimately, letting go of dunya is a return to your true self. It is remembering that your existence has a higher purpose than chasing things that will fade. It is choosing to live a life aligned with your soul's design, not the world's expectations. When you take that step, even if it is small, everything changes. You feel lighter, stronger, more aware, and more alive. Your heart, once restless, finds its home in the peace Allah has always intended for you. This is not a loss. It is the greatest gain of all: the freedom, clarity, and tranquility of becoming who you were always meant to be. My brothers and sisters, the message is clear. True peace does not come from what we cling to in this world. It comes from what we release: our attachments, our desires, our need for validation from others, and our obsession with fleeting pleasures. When you let go of dunya, even a little, Allah fills the space in your heart with something far greater: tranquility, contentment, and a calm that no hardship can shake. Your life becomes lighter, your soul becomes stronger, and your connection with Allah becomes the anchor that guides you through every storm. So do not fear letting go. Do not hesitate because of temporary loss or worldly pressures. Trust that Allah, in His infinite wisdom, will replace everything you release for His sake with blessings that are far more enduring and meaningful. Letting go is not giving up. It is rising. It is growing. It is returning to the purpose for which you were created. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And don't forget to subscribe so that more reminders like this reach you, inspire you, and guide you closer to the peace that only Allah can give.